few things that I'd love to suggest to people which help you to develop the same types of meta-awareness that you can be thrust into through psychedelics that serve a purpose whether or not you ever choose to take one of these compounds. One would be certainly mindfulness meditation, and I think by the time this podcast we're recording right now is live, Sam Harris's Waking Up app, I think, is just tremendous. I think it does an exceptionally good job of this. And there's certainly guided meditations. If you search, say, mindfulness meditation, Jack Kornfield, Tara Brach, both outstanding. Sam Harris also has some guided meditations that he's recorded. Awareness meditation, and Peter, you feel free to jump in if I don't do this justice, but awareness meditation being different from, say, other forms of meditation, many of which I have used and still use on occasion, perhaps one of the more popular of which being, say, transcendental meditation, mantra-based. It is a concentration practice where you are repeating a mantra to yourself over and over and over and over again as a way to hone concentration and, although not everyone's going to love this description, to give your psyche and self a break from the incessant monkey mind. And you really can reach a transcendent space where you feel like you are a point of consciousness floating if you do the 20 minutes twice a day very consistently. That is a concentration practice. If you were thinking of a candle flame and that were a focal point for a period of meditation, whenever you found yourself swept up in thought, you return to a candle flame. That would also be a concentration practice. If you're doing, and there are many also within awareness meditation, there are different types, but if you're doing, say, something referred to as, I think it's sometimes called open monitoring, where you're paying attention to anything that comes up as it comes up. And there are different ways to approach this, but very often begins with the breath. So it is, in some sense, a concentration practice, but you're focusing on the breath. You're not chasing it. You're simply observing it. Then you focus on sounds. Then you focus on any discomfort or weight that you feel in your body. Then you perhaps later, after 10 daily sessions, begin to practice with your eyes open, which I'd never really done before Sam's app, which I found tremendously helpful as a bridge into then waking reality. These are all practices that help you to spot the gap between sensory input and cognitive response, right? So that you become more response able in so much as you have a tiny gap within which you can choose your response as opposed to simply reflexively going through life like some type of slug that's been shocked in a Skinner box or something. And you have more optionality. You suddenly realize there are just more options on the menu than, oh, whenever so-and-so does this, I always get pissed off. There are more options on the menu. And that, by the way, having that basic ability, having the ABCs of that awareness and control will give you a tremendous advantage and allow you to get very often much more value out of any psychedelic experience. Because you will have had, let's just call it 50 sessions on a boogie board before they're like, oh, cool, here's a surfboard. It's hurricane season. Have fun. Good luck. Like, maybe you catch a wave. Chances are your first experience is going to be getting tumbled a lot, and you can you can steepen the learning curve really dramatically for later getting more out of psychedelics very often if you develop some of this basic awareness beforehand.
I'm kind of amazed at how difficult it is for me to convince some of my patients at the importance of meditation. And I find sometimes by just telling them about my own struggles and my own journey to accept, first of all, that this was something that was beneficial even when it didn't feel beneficial, and two, to realize that you have to sort of figure out what's going to work for you, but it's worth making that effort. I agree with you. I think that just even putting the apps aside, it's different people have different ways of explaining things. And I remember a math professor I had in college, and this was early. This might have been like, I was either a freshman or a sophomore, but he said something that always resonated with me, because now you were sort of getting outside of like, rudimentary calculus and stuff, and mathematics was starting to get very abstract. And he said, look, if you're reading a proof and you don't understand it, assume that the person who is presenting it doesn't know how to present it to you. Find somebody else. And so I think that really holds also for meditation, which is there are just going to be some people who guide in a way that you're willing to be guided. And so you shouldn't be put off if someone's listening to this thinking, every time I try meditation, it doesn't work for me or something like that. And so I don't want to sort of name the apps I went through, but there were many apps that I went through that just didn't resonate for me. Just the way that they talked about this didn't make sense to me. But then when you find the ones that do, and there are several that do for me, including Sam's Waking Up, which you and I have been lucky enough, along with a number of other folks, to get the beta version of that, which, God, it's been 6 months.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I remember Sam giving it to me in January. The way Sam explains it really resonates with me, and there are others that do so the same. Jeff Warren is also one of the guides on Dan Harris, is no relation to Sam Harris, 10% Happier. I just love the way he explains stuff. And so, I would say to anybody who's listening to this, who's feeling sort of bearish on meditation, try a different app, try a different guide, try a different book, try another way. Keep going.